Every employee, whether that is the person on the reception desk, a till worker, or the foreman on the factory floor, is invited to also make suggestions on how to improve. The employees make suggestions in groups and as individuals, and the emphasis is on very small things that would transform their working process. At the time of Imai's book release, Japanese workers each made 19 suggestions per year on average for ways in which their companies could improve, and this level of engagement is still very much encouraged every day. Success for the company is judged on whether it is more productive, more competitive, and more profitable. But the emphasis is on long term incremental improvements rather than quick and drastic change. Kaizen for personal development. Kaizen techniques can work outside of organizational theory, and Mr. Imai himself acknowledges that the philosophy has wider applications than just the business world, particularly as, in his view, all the individuals have an instinctive desire to improve themselves. Coimbra asserts that at the Kaizen Institute, they very much encourage that since we started the Kaizen Institute, we have been applying what we preach internally. We have a course for our employees where we teach Kaizen principles and tools for personal development. This optional course encourages participants to assess their lives against a number of criteria: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and to make suggestions for changes. Participants work on a plan involving small actions they can make to bring about improvement. This eventually becomes a life strategy in which they are asked to summarize changes that they are going to make on an E3 piece of paper, which mirrors the same strategy document that businesses such as Toyota use when they are formulating their Kaizen strategy. Coimbra says that when people start their own Kaizen practice, most of the habits they are looking to change are physical, such as exercise, sleep, and diet. But once employees try new habits, they are encouraged to work towards more emotional aspects of improvements. Coimbra states that it is common to see people adopting meditation habits and being more conscious of their own emotions and the impact they have in the emotions of other people. The employees who have signed up to the program have noticed considerable improvements in their habits and happiness, including better exercise habits, rest, and nutrition, and have demonstrated more sophisticated behaviors related to emotional intelligence and spiritual engagement in life as a whole. Coimbra asserts our most motivated employees have the Kaizen mindset in their personal life, and this, of course, benefits all the aspects of their life. Change is infectious, and when success is achieved in one area, you are encouraged to apply the same techniques to another area of your life. This is referred to as yokoten or horizontal development, that is, copying what works in one area to see if it works in another. The philosophy of Kaizen is just as easy to apply to individual change as to change in a business. It is about setting long term, medium term, and short term goals, then thinking of small incremental adjustments you can make to work towards these goals. Coimbra argues that if you adopt the philosophy of continuous improvement, you will always be looking for ways to do better, even if it is only improving small things on a daily basis. We can see that the long term evolution of our society as human beings is one of continuous progress, and that if we create a spiral of continuous wins, we will be much better in all the senses. Over the course of this book, as well as introducing you to Kaizen techniques and offering tips for small steps you can make to change your environment and routine in a number of areas, I will encourage you adopt this philosophy to continuous improvement through taking a step back and analyzing your life as a whole. I hope that it will help you to see if it from a different perspective, whether that's choosing to embrace nature, eating more mindful, or thinking about your career goals. And once one small change makes a difference, it is likely that you will practice your own yokoten, and be encouraged to try another change. Kaizen and sport. The field of sport is another area in which Kaizen techniques have already been used successfully, as well as it being used in martial arts training. Several top sports teams have cited Kaizen or marginal gains, as it is sometimes referred to, as a technique that they have used to great effect. Sir Dave Brailsford became head of the British cycling team in 2002 when the exciting team had experienced little to no success. But by the Beijing Olympics in 2008, the team won seven of the top possible gold medals for cycling and achieved the same tally at the London Olympics in 2012. Brailsford, who had an MBA and an interest in business management techniques, started to use Kaizen as a way to improve the tennis's team's performance. He got the team to break down every aspect of cycling into as small a part as possible, whether that was the aerodynamics, the nutrition of the cyclists, the maintenance of the bikes, and then gave them a target of improving each part by just 1%. Rather than focusing on perfection from the start, he looked for marginal gains in each area and celebrated small successes, which soon became cumulative successes. He cites these marginal gains as creating a contagious enthusiasm for change, which then spurred the team on to even more success. Brailsford is now taking his techniques to members of the British government to show how they can be applied to public services such as Britain's National Health Service to improve targets and overall performance. Japan and the West. As we have already discussed, the continuous improvement philosophy of Kaizen is very much East meets West. It was conceived as a business strategy in the West but was then adopted by Japanese companies who saw the techniques as an extension of Japanese values and attitudes towards incremental change. During the course of this book, I am going to explore how Kaizen is a good example of this ongoing dialogue between Japan and the West and touch upon what we can learn from some of the other Japanese social, cultural, and philosophical traditions too. Japanese society is not without its flaws, but I think we can gain a lot from observing the way it works. One of the things that I immediately noticed when arriving in Japan is how it has retained its own sense of identity and strong social structures. You are instantly struck by small children playing out in the street unaccompanied, people leaving their bikes unlocked outside their houses, and often leaving the doors to their homes unlocked too. As a woman, it feels a lot safer to walk around at night compared to other big cities like London, Paris, or New York. There are hardly any litter bins in central Tokyo, apparently because of anti terrorism measures. But somehow, no litter whatsoever, people take responsibility and carry it home with them. There is a really strong social contract, and it is so refreshing and inspirational to experience firsthand. Being more conscious of the needs of others around you and of your impact on your environment is something I feel we need to introduce into our lives as much as possible. Japan is dominated by a collective culture unlike any that we have in the West. It will take for a foreigner a prolonged period of being immersed in Japanese culture to fully appreciate the amount of social rules and small daily courtesies that dominate the way the Japanese interact with each other. The social structures are set up very distinctively and founded on rules that can sometimes seem alien to those outside of Japan because the inhabitable parts of the country are so densely populated. There has to be a big emphasis on social cohesion. One of the most unique aspects of Japanese culture is the concept of Yuji Sotu, which dictates a lot of Japan's social customs and even extends to their language. Translating the Uchi, home or inside, and Soto, outside, it is about separating in groups from outgroups. A Japanese person's in group would be their family, close friends, and co workers, whereas the outgroup would be any clients, customers, visitors, or Gaijin non Japanese people. When speaking with someone from an outgroup, the outgroup must be honored and the in group humbled, which means that different language is used to convey a level of politeness depending on who you are talking to. This also extends to gift giving and other social interactions such as serving, where the customer is treated with the ultimate respect. The upside of this is the strong social contract and relative social cohesion between Japanese people and the respect and politeness that an outsider will feel when visiting Japan. The downside of these rules is that as an outsider, it can be hard to be fully accepted in Japanese society. For example, my British friend has been living in Tokyo for 15 years, is fluent in Japanese, and has a Japanese wife, but still feels like he isn't fully integrated into society. Younger people are said to be embracing these rules less, but they are still fundamental to Japanese society and business culture.